Hi and welcome back to MDriven and start a course. So this is chapter 5. Chapter 5, 146. We have seen how to adopt views from being autoforms to becoming view models. You as a developer control. What we'll do now is to take a look at the actions that bring those views up for a user. Look at the person seeker from chapter 4 in the view model editor. Fold down the yellow action button. Note the blue person seeker link. Click it. So going into the view model editor, the person seeker, the action fold down button, person seeker. Clicking that, was that a single click, a double click? So I got here. You see the form that defines this action. Note the action name. Change it to person seeker. I'm in control. Note that the generated menu bar above the action name is updated. So this is a generated menu bar. 149. Note the left hand list in the form. These are the other global actions currently defined. Click the one named Auto Form Car Seeker. Note how the right hand side now shows its name and definition. So this is the left hand side, Auto Form Car Seeker. So when I switch here, this side is updated. Point 150. There are 3 types of actions. These 2 actions that we have looked at currently are of the global type. A global action is called global since it will be shown in the top level global menu. So this is what will become the top level global menu of your application. 151. Close the yellow global action form. Go back to the model diagram. Click the cogwheels tool button. Note that how this brings up the same form again. I'm going to close this one. Heading back over here. Clicking these cogwheels. And that's the same form again. And if I select (152). Select the autoform car seeker action. Note it does not show in the rendered main menu. Also note that it is defined to be in a menu group called autoforms. Change the menu group of the action to be non-blank empty. Note that the action now shows next to person seeker. Change it back by pressing Ctrl Y undo. Well, Ctrl Z, right? So this is in menu group autoforms. So if I were to clear this to set it to nothing, then it shows up here instead. Or then it shows next to the person seeker. I'm in control. But we're going to change that back by pressing undo, Ctrl Z. So now it's autoform and then it went away. Okay. 153. Select the person seeker action in the list. Press the 3-dot button next to the menu group choice. This brings up the edit menu group dialog. Press add menu group, type in name it to something like this. I control the menu grouping / at all levels. So let's see what happens if we do that. We're gonna push the 3 buttons next to here, menu group, and we're gonna add a new menu group, and we're gonna give that a name. That was that, and we're gonna do OK. Now we're gonna choose that one and see what happens. Set the menu group on the person seeker action. Check the top rendered menu. Find the I control menu grouping. Click it to open it. Note the sub-level at all levels. Click to open. Note person seeker action under this menu. Yeah, maybe I took the wrong action. So now I have a sub-level. That's all levels. And opening that, I can see the auto form car seeker because I took the wrong one. It wasn't the one that I should have given this group to. It was this one. So like this. So that's how we build the hierarchical menus. Note that person seeker action is gone from the top level, and the global action will only be in one place in the top menu. Note that person seeker action has a bring up view model setting under the header what the action does. So under the header what the action does, it has a bring up view model setting that's set to person seeker. Press the 3 dot button next to the bring up view model. Note that the view model editor is brought up into focus, showing the view model that was chosen for the action. Go back to action dialog. So the 3 button, the 3 dot button here, and this then brings up the view model editor at the person seeker. Go back to action dialog, change bring up view model value to index. Okay, so index is another view model then. This one. And verify that you get the view model editor showing the index view model when pressing the 3 buttons. Yes. So now this switches and shows the index. So this is a fast way to navigate between actions and view models. You can also switch view model, shown view model here. So you can do like this maybe. And there will be breadcrumbs up here. So you can jump between the ones that you have shown recently. Go back to action dialog, undo change. So I'm gonna undo this change that we switched it to index, Control Z. Now go into rendered top menu, find the person seeker action and note the view model icon next to it. Click the icon. So there's a view model icon next to the person seeker I'm in control. So I'm gonna click on that icon, and that takes me straight to the view model as well. (160). Select the exit action in the left menu. Now go into rendered top menu, find the person seeker action and click not on the icon but the text at the rendered icon. Note that the global action form now has selected the person seeker action. Yeah, so what we're gonna do, first we're gonna select this one so that we have something completely different selected here, and then we're going to go in here and not pressing the view model icon because that takes us to the view model editor. Instead I'm going to press the text And what we wanted to show with this step was that that's how that it will select the correct global action here and update this page. So that's just another way to do the same thing. 161. Create a new global action with the top left add global action button. Name it person seeker again. Set the brings up view model to person seeker. See its menu group. Set its menu group to I'm in control. Check the rendered menu. Where did it show up? So we're gonna add a new global action, selecting that one, naming it to person seeker again. I'm gonna set the menu group to I control menu group at all levels. So what happens now is that both these actions, person seeker again and person seeker I'm in control, end up next to each other. Okay, set the bring up view model to person seeker. I want to do that. Save and check the browser in your running app. Set the divider group within menu to some name on person seeker again. So person seeker again. Divider group within menu, some name. Save, checking web. Now we got a separator between the two action names. Set the divider group within menu to some name on person seeker I'm in control. Okay. Divider group within menu some name. So now these two share the some name. So heading back here, refreshing. So now there's no separation between these two because they belong to the same group. Divider group introduce sections within the menu. It's the order actions use sort order in group. Set AAA on one and BBB on the other. Save and check web. So I'm gonna set sort order in group. I'm gonna set AAA on this one and BBB on this one. Saving and refreshing, checking the web. So now person seeker again is first. This is A and this is B. So switch A and B on the actions. Make sure you understand how to control the order. So person seeker again was first because that had A. Let's change that to B. And this one also changes to A. Now this list is also resorted because that's the presentation of them. So they should follow the presentation that they are in the UI. So now this one, I'm in control, has A. And we're gonna refresh. Make sure that we saved and refresh. So now this one, I'm in control, is on top and person seeker again is below. So that is how you control the sort order of the actions. So 168. I said there were 3 types of actions and we have looked at one of them, the global action. Global actions only end up in the global menu. Now we'll look at class actions. Class actions are type specific. So a class action belongs to a class and all objects that is of that class can see or use this action. So 169, go back to view model person seeker, fold down actions, note the two show person links in the person nesting. Click either one of them. So going back to person seeker view model, flipping down this action fold, and on the person nesting, this blue one that will show this list, we have two show person actions. I'm gonna click either one of them. I'm gonna take this up one. $170. A new but similar action forms shows up, listing all class actions for class person. There are two show person actions. One is one we got from adopt this view model and make it our own. So this function also copies some of the actions associated with the definition we adopt. We're going to rename the one that does not bring up auto form to show person I am in control. So there are two actions on class person shows in view models on type that match. So we have two with the same name, one that brings up the view person. This is the one that we adopted because that was renamed, and this is the auto form that's left from the generate auto form. So we're gonna rename the one that doesn't bring up the auto form. So that's this one. So 178. Back in view model editor, note that the name is updated. Note the parenthesis with class name person within. So let's see what we talk about. So here the name is updated. I can now see that this show person and show person in I'm in control. If I click this one, it's the same form that shows up, but this one is selected. And if I click the other one, it's the same form, but this one is selected. I can just select them here as well. And note the parenthesis with class name person within. This is how you recognize a class action. These class actions both belong to person class. So what I'm talking about here is this one, person. So the person class. Change the class of the nesting to car. Ignore the many errors. So the nesting is this one. So if I click this one, this is typed to person, and that's the reason why these two class actions show up here. So I'm going to change that to car as instructed. Whoa, many errors. So that's probably fine because none of these columns fit the type of car. So all of these are wrong now, but ignore the many errors. So we're gonna ignore that for now, and notice that person actions disappear and show car shows up instead. Correct. So the show person's actions that were here before are now gone, and now we see a totally different class car, and that's because this one was changed, and the logic will find actions that fit this type instead. If I were to click this one, I get actions on class car. There's only one, but I don't need that one for now. So class actions are automatically showing depending on type context. Change class of nesting back to person and save. So I'm gonna go here and change this back to person. The errors disappeared because now these columns are okay, and also the actions show up here because now they match the type person. So these are person class actions. And save, test, web, test both actions. They bring up two different forms. Save, head back to here, and person seeker, I'm in control. I noticed that when we changed the seeker, seeking on nothing actually yields no results. We can look at that later on, but the easiest way to work around this is to give an age of 1, because then we will at least see everyone that's older than 1 year old. Yeah, so I'm going to show this person. Now I see that I have 2 actions. I'm going to take the one, show person, I'm in control. And then I get this form, that was the adopted one, that's only person name. And the other one, this is the auto form, it only has the 2 properties and a button to follow, to show the contents of the cars I used to own. In the form called only person, we see the same class action again, taking us to the second form and vice versa. So in this form for person, I see show person. So this one also shows up here because it's the same class action. Show person, and in this form auto person, I get an action back to the other class action that matches person. So I'm going to test that one as well. So I can jump between these two like this. So 174. Class actions show up directly as type information is correct. This is often what we want, but not always. So there is a way to opt out on showing the action in a place where the type rules really say it should show. So look in the top of the action definition, a list of view model places the type information match. Notice the checkbox for opt-in. Make sure all levels are checked on both actions for person. Save and check the web. So what I mean is this box up here. These are all places where the type information matches person. So for this action, it's opt-in default, opt-in, but in here it's opted out. So, and the task now was to make sure that it was opted in everywhere. So I'm going to check this one. And for the other action, I can see that it was opted out, not in, on this form. So I'm going to check that as well. And I'm going to save. And I'm going to check the web, what happened now. So now I see both actions here, and if I were to click this one, I see 2 actions here as well. But this action is actually, we can understand why it's there. It's a class action that matches some type, and we are on a person, so why not? It should be here. But at the same time, it's nonsensical because it will only take us back to ourselves. And that's not really user-friendly in any way. So that's why we, in this case, most likely want to opt it out. And that was why the auto forms had marked it as opted out for this action. And 175, you can also opt in or out actions in the view model by pressing the arrow in front of class action. Try that. So this arrow. So this is the person seeker that will bring up person, and that's probably fine that we can go to both these forms, but I'm going into pressing this icon for going to the view model that this action brings up. So now I'm in auto form and I see these both actions, and maybe I don't want the one that brings me back to the same place, which is this one. As I click this one, nothing really changes. I'm going back to the same form. So I probably want to opt that out, and then I can just click this link, and now it's out opted. And if I want to opt it back in, as we do in 176, we can just click the arrow on the other direction. So that's one way to manage this. Here's another one that has been opted out by the auto form logic. Let's do the same thing with the other one. So I'm gonna click here. Now I'm on person and I see both these actions, and I know that this person I'm in control will bring up this form, because when I click this I get back to the same place. So that's nonsensical for a user, so I'm gonna opt that out like that. Save. Step 177. The third type of action is the view model action, also known as context action. These are actions unique to a specific view. Go to the view model person, fold down actions, note the delete this action, and double click that. So the person view model, delete this action, and I'm presented with this view. 178. We now see the third kind of action, form. Again, similar to the other two types, but the left side in this form resembles the view model tree structure. So this has the actions leading here, person and car, and that resembles person and car. So if we were to have more levels here, we would also see more levels here when action can be placed. And this form also shows the matched class actions for the view model levels. You only see difference between class actions and true view model actions by the latter missing the class name behind it. So being here, we can see that the actions, class actions that we checked on before that will show up in this form also are available here. So if we want, we can just edit the class action straight from here. This is the actions for the view model person. So it's both the local actions, the view model actions, and the class actions that matched. But we were on this, and the difference, we can see that this is a local action and a view model action and not a class action, is that this one is missing this part where it says which type it has matched and the reason for being here. '79, 179. In the delete this view model action, find the are you sure setting and set it to wow, want to delete this person. So delete this action, delete are you sure question. Wow, you want to delete this person, save, and heading back to web and pressing, let's make sure it's refreshed, delete this. Wow, want to delete this person. Test the action in the web, say console on the question on delete. Okay, console. 180. Since view model actions are not limited by class, they can theoretically show up at any level of the view model tree. It is very seldom that we want a view model action to show up at more than one level in the view. This is controlled in the action editor, right side top, only on this level. So for this, delete this, right side on the top, only on this level, person. So that's the reason why it's only showing here. Change it from person to car, save test web. And change this to person car instead. And now we end up here. Delete this is on this level. I'm gonna save and test the web. So now it's not available to delete this. It's because we're lacking cars I used to own. Let's make sure that I have a car. So this is person 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make sure that we have a car. So the person Hans Carlson has old cars. I'm gonna look up that person instead. Person seeker. Show that person, and once I'm here and selecting one of these, I see the header cars I used to own, and now delete this shows up, and wow, want to delete this person. Cancel. Change it from person to car, save test web. Now the delete this is only available when a car is selected. But this is logically strange, so change it back to person. It won't make sense to a user that you need to select a car in order to delete the person. So I'm going to change that back to person and save. So we have now looked at 3 different types of actions: the global actions, the class actions, and the view model actions. There is one more action-like thing, the view model placed button. So the view model editor for person view, I'm here, add a button, name the column, delete me, save. So there's multiple ways to add a button to this view, but for example, I'm gonna go here and add a column, add an action column with which effectively is a button. So now I have a button. I can drag that to a reasonable place. It shows up as a view model column. Name the column, delete me, save, check web. Check web, wrong window, check web. So pressing this one, nothing happens. That was expected because we haven't said anything. Nothing happens since it has no expression in action language that does anything. So what I mean by that is that this one is totally empty here. Here we could probably do a lot of things if we wanted. But we will connect this button action to the view model action, delete this. By finding the is action setting and next to it picker, where we optionally can make the button execute one of the actions available to us in the view. So as I've selected this, here's the is action. I know that that's checked, and this checkbox is actually what makes this being a button, just not some expression. So that's the only difference. But as soon as it is an action, we also have this picker to choose which do you optionally want to skip the expression and instead perform one of the actions defined in these. So that's practical because these can navigate and things like that, jump between screens. I'm going to choose to delete this. And if I were to click these three buttons, I get back to the action definition. I can see, are you sure question. Wow, you want to delete this person. So that will be practical when I press this button. Yeah, so good. Now we have done a lot on actions and understand the different types of actions. The global actions, the class actions that match on type, and the view model actions that are unique to a specific context or view model. And also the button actions to actually perform stuff by user clicking the rendered UI rather than this left side menu, which is context sensitive and can be closed this way. So it's pretty much all the same thing, and up to you as a developer to choose when to use which thing. So thank you for following along. See you next time.